Welcome to Big Pick 4. Any comments on last week? The only win being, who did I say the only win was?
It was Pittsburgh over
Pittsburgh.
Kansas City.
So the losses being Detroit, Buffalo, and Baltimore. Did we have any comments there?
Yeah, Baltimore can kiss my ass. They were extremely horrible in that game. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Joe Flacco had the worst game of his career in that game. That was horrible. It was so horrible and pathetic to watch. That was a disgrace to football. Let's see. Chicago just kind of slept through that game against Chicago, and they finally pulled it out, but they only won by 6. I mean, they knew that they have a big game against Green Bay this weekend, and I think they just kind of knew they could just get by and didn't really play very hard, and they still won anyway. Buffalo, they didn't play. They made the game close at the end, but they had no shot. They were favored by 6.5, and they lost by 2. They didn't do anything. That game was much closer than I thought it was going to be. Buffalo really kind of did a Baltimore. They both had something to play for, but they both came up extremely short. So they didn't play very well. One who came through for us was Pittsburgh, who they took care of the Chiefs pretty easily. The Chiefs were awful. Jamal Charles didn't do anything, and Alex Smith has a lacerated spleen from that game. So that was the only good pick. The other picks just completely blew up on our face. So Pittsburgh and Cincinnati are both in, but the winner of that game will win the division, and which means they'll get a home game in the following week. I mean, it's possible they could both play each other again the next week in the playoffs, which would be kind of interesting. Really depends what happens with Indianapolis and Denver, because I think if Cincinnati wins and if Denver loses, Cincinnati could move up to the number 2 spot. Yeah, Baltimore's still alive, Houston's still alive, San Diego's still alive, the Chefs are still alive. Well, Atlanta, if they're playing against Carolina, whoever wins the division. That's a win in your in game. Yes, for the worst division of football, where a team at 7-9 is going to make it and get a home game, probably against Arizona, who they might beat Arizona the way Arizona's playing. Their quarterback, Stanton, has a knee infection. It might cost him his career. He has a big problem. He's not going to play for a while, so Arizona could be in trouble.
Let's have the first combined pick last week of the season. Danny D.
All right, our first combined pick is Pittsburgh minus 3.5 at home to Cincinnati. Pittsburgh's coming off a big win against Kansas City. Cincinnati's coming off a big win against Denver at home. It was the first primetime victory they've had in years. I think Andy Dalton and the crew were something like 0-6 in primetime and playoff games. So they finally won one, but that was at home. This is going to be in Pittsburgh. There could be some adverse conditions. I think earlier in the week they predicted they could get 1 to 3 inches of snow during the game in Pittsburgh. I'm not sure if that forecast is still holding true. But if basically Pittsburgh wins or Cincinnati wins, they get at least a home game. It could be worth more depending on what happens early in the day with Denver and let's see if they win. And Indianapolis, I guess, even I think they have no chance to move up. But really, this is for the number 3 seed in the conference to face a wild card team, which I guess would be San Diego or Cincinnati, depending on how it unfolds. So this is it. They need to, both teams are going to come in and they need to play for something. I don't trust Andy Dalton. He was sick this week. These games are usually pretty close between two teams, but luckily it's a low spread. It's only 3.5. But Pittsburgh has a lot. This is it. They have a lot to play for, and if they win, they get to play a home game the following week. And I just think Pittsburgh is going to come through and win this game. I trust Roethlisberger more than I trust Dalton at this point. Le'Veon Bell's played great this season. And what's his name? A.J. Green is injured. He got injured during the Monday night game. He hurt his arm. So I don't know how effective he's going to be in this game. He says he's okay, but everyone's going to say they're okay. They're not going to really say, oh, I'm in pain. Unless you're on a terrible team, and it doesn't matter. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Also interesting to see how the weather works out. Because both teams can run the football. Cincinnati's defense is a little bit better than Pittsburgh's, but Pittsburgh plays better at home. And believe they've won all their division games at home against Baltimore and against Cleveland. So for those reasons, we're taking Pittsburgh at home in a division title game. This is for the division. And Cincinnati usually goes belly up at some point. So I'm picking this week. So I'll go with Pittsburgh.
Has Dalton played a playoff game yet?
Yeah, Yeah, he's 0-3, and I think two of them have been at home. They lost. They lost twice to Houston and once to San Diego in the playoffs. So, if they win, they have to go on the road. And I guess they'll either play Indianapolis, who shut them 34-0 this year, or they go back to Pittsburgh again. Your brother's calling me on the phone right now.
Oh, I thought you already did my Big B then.
Yeah, it's going to be Buffalo.
All right, no worries. I just wanted to see if you got my pick.
No, Dan,
Yeah.
tell him that we want to hear the analysis, that we told him he's picking Buffalo. We want to hear the
Yeah, I
analysis.
want to hear your gut pick analysis for Buffalo.
All right, no worries.
All right.
No, tell him he's live on the air, and we want to hear his analysis for why he's picking Buffalo.
Apparently someone else picked for me, so I don't have a reason. Little Leprechaun picked them for me.
You better come up with one quick.
Buffalo's got a strong defense.
So your big B guarantee is Buffalo, right?
I would pick anything.
Yeah, I'll do the analysis. Don't worry about it.
All right.
Well, tell him we're happy to hear that he's still alive, being that he's not returning our phone calls.
Yeah, we're going to send the police over.
I had my battery turned off.
You had his battery turned off. How do you do that?
I just didn't recharge it. It's just been turned off all the last couple days.
Oh, I see. You don't want to hear from anybody?
Who calls me ever? The bill collectors.
Your brother, Bill
Where are you
Collector.
at? Where is he at now? Ask him where he's at.
Are you at home?
Yeah, I'm home. I'm watching TV.
Oh, he's at home watching television.
Are you watching the Married with Children reruns?
No, I'm watching Seinfeld.
No, Seinfeld reruns.
Hey, that was a good guess, though. I was close.
All right.
All right, later, bye. You're picking Buffalo. We might
right.
win one for you.
Yeah, he's gone.
I was getting worried about it. Everybody kept calling him, and he never answered the damn phone.
Why? Who the hell keeps their phone dead like that? Who does that? Oh my God,
Probably
he's
just
funny.
waking up. He's just waking up.
Probably.
Rise and shine. 6:44 p.m.
Yeah. He probably realized. Oh yeah, it's the next day.
I can't believe he called you. That's a miracle in and of itself.
There you go. There's your Christmas miracle.
Yeah, Christmas miracle. Yes, Virginia. There is a Buru.
Yeah. The old Buru came through.
So let's have the second combined pick, Danny D.
All right. The Buru's first gut pick of the week is Minnesota -6 at home against Chicago. Chicago just blows. Jay Turnover Cutler is going to be playing again this week because the other guy got concussion at the end of the game last week, so he can't play. And they didn't want to put in some other guy, so they just let Cutler go out there and throw it around. It's not like that Minnesota's great, but Bridgewater's actually played well the second half of the season, quietly. He's put some numbers together, and Chicago defense is terrible. It's in Minnesota. I don't know what the weather's going to be like up there, but it could be bad. Chicago's mailed it in. Most of the coaches, if not all of them, are going to be fired. The GM could be fired. They're going to try to get rid of Cutler if they can. I mean, everyone's like one of those car sales. Everything must go, going out of business. We have deals. We're crazy. You can get 10 cars for $15.
Practically insane.
Oh yeah, like Crazy Eddie.
Yeah.
But if anyone
Everything
remembers
must
that,
go.
yeah. I mean, our prices are insane. There's a commercial where he does that. He puts his arms in the air and he starts waving them around. But anyway, we're taking Minnesota. Minnesota's playing better. They're better coached. They're a better team right now than Chicago. Chicago is not a team. They're a bunch of guys who all want to kill each other. The offensive coordinators, I mentioned, I think, week before on my You For Real, threw Cutler and the rest of the team under the bus for being bad. He should have been fired, and he wasn't. Trestman should really be gone. I mean, I think you should bring in old Mike Ratface Shanahan, might come in and be the coach next year, which would be interesting. But they have to get rid of everybody. It's just this whole thing is just a disaster. Minnesota has some stability. I mean, I'm not sure there'll ever be anything in Minnesota, but they're a better team. and I like the way they're playing. Teddy Bridgewater had a good game last week against Miami, and they were a much better team than the Bears. So I expect Minnesota to be able to cover this game.
You're picking the Steelers and the Vikes. And now a word from our sponsor.
Hi. Over the next 3 lessons, I'll guide you through my roll, pour, swirl exercises to peel back the layers of taste and tone your Bavaria 0.0 white beer to perfection. We'll start with the roll. This exercise is great for working the flavor here and here. Okay, down on all fours. Place the bottle on the small of your back. Do it with me. Up and down, up and down. This exercise is great for working the wheat proteins, unleashing a fuller flavor and more consistent body. If this exercise is too hard, you can always ask a friend for help. Mindy, could you assist me? Notice how Mindy is gently stroking my bottle. Up and down. Well, that's all for now. Don't worry if you're feeling a little stiff. That's normal. In my next lesson, I'll introduce you to the perfect pour. Remember, roll, pour, swirl. So join up, and I'll see you soon. Up and down. Good job, Mindy.
Week 17. Are you for real? Danny D, let's have it.
All right, my week 17 You For Real is a disaster called the Cleveland Browns. I mean, it's like the Titanic, and then that not only hit the iceberg but also blew up at the same time. I think they were 7-3 at one point, and they've lost every game since. Now they're 7-8. Brian Hoyer's hurt, and he stinks. He was terrible for weeks at a time. Then Johnny Manziel goes in there, and he tries to play, and he stinks too. Then he finally hurt his hamstring, and then they put him out to pasture this past week, putting him on IR, ending his completely forgettable rookie season. The best part of his rookie season, actually, was all the defensive players, when they sacked him, when they did the little money dance in his face to make fun of him for doing the money symbol when he was drafted. So they had a counter on ESPN at Monday. I think 12 guys did it to him when they sacked him during the Cincinnati-Cleveland game. But he finally got hurt last week, and they said that's enough. So they're starting some undrafted guy from South Carolina this week who they're going to throw out there who hasn't even been with them the whole season. So they're going to see what he can do. I mean...
They were trying to bring back Rex Grossman, right?
Yeah, they did, but he didn't want to do it. He didn't feel like getting his ass kicked one last time. Oh, what a pathetic outfit. I'm curious what happens there, too. I wonder if the Brian's old coach gets the boot for this debacle. I mean, I don't know whether they just played well over their heads, and now they're back to what they should be, and maybe this is just a progression. I don't know. I just know that the GM they have now wasn't the GM that hired him, and I just wonder what's going to happen with Pettine.
No, it's the same thing that happened with Jim Zorn in D.C. He had some early on success, and then people got wise to his bullshit, and then it was over.
Yeah. And then they brought him back for another season, I think.
He did like 3 seasons, or at least 2.
Oh, he was a terrible coach, Jim Zorn. He had no idea what the hell he was doing.
No, but initially he was winning. You know, when he first started off, and everyone's like, oh my God, and then they realize he's winning because he's insane. He's just doing wacky bullshit. And then once they're like, okay, we're on to your wacky bullshit, then they shut it down, and you never win again.
Yeah, same thing happened with Steve Superior when he was the coach there.
Right.
They won their first couple games, and they got shellacked the rest of the season because they were terrible. And the same thing happened with Zorn. It didn't really happen this time for Gruden. They were just bad from the get-go.
This guy in Cleveland from CB West, I mean, he had some early initial success, right?
I think they're like 6-2 or 7-3, something like that. And then
And
they
now
just
people
like
are
flat.
on to his dumb shit, and they're just like, all right, you're not going to win by doing wacky shit anymore. You have to play
Yeah.
like you're an NFL team, and now he can't live up to that standard, so he's going to lose from now on.
Yes, I agree, and I think they'll lose this week too. I don't even know who they're playing, but I'm sure they'll lose because they're just awful. They're an awful team. It's like I don't know what's going on there. I don't know whether they're already tuning him out, whatever he's saying. He missed the quarterback situation completely. I don't know what confidence the players have in him. I don't know what's going on there, but he really screwed that up, and it's ugly. People were actually excited about the Cleveland Browns by the first time in 20 years, if not more, and they just took everyone's heart out and they ate it and stepped on it and said, "Oh well, we're back to being the old Cleveland Browns again."
Can Shaquille O'Neal play football? Maybe they could work something out there.
I don't know what position you put him at, but I think his knees are probably pretty shot at this point.
Quarterback, man.
Quarterback, a 7-foot quarterback. Yeah, I think he's 40 and his knees are shot, so I don't see that happening. I don't think he has very good mobility.
So is Manziel the next Tebow? I mean, is he going that route
He might be.
where he's not a fit for the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, they were talking about this, that because of the hype, he was really overhyped, that he probably should have been a third or fourth round pick in the draft. And instead of being a first round pick, that way you can stuff him away somewhere, have him sit there for a year or two, nobody cares. And then maybe in a year or two, he's good enough, maybe he can play. But unfortunately, because he's a first round pick, and because of his outsized personality, there's pressure on the team and the coach to play him, and he really shouldn't be playing because he had never had to play in the college is such a different animal. It's just not the same thing. You can't project someone at all. It's so difficult just because the defense and offensive systems are so much different. And the teams you play, he play against a lot of poor competition where you can just get away with using your athleticism because you're just so much better than everybody else. In the NFL, you can't make crazy throws. He tried to do that in his first start, and everything got picked off because you can't do it. He can't throw across the field. He doesn't have the arm to do that.
Who was the last top round draft pick quarterback to even be worth a damn? I guess Luck, right?
Luck. Yeah, Luck.
He's actually worth a damn.
Yeah, he's good. He's going to have his team in the playoffs for the third year in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And they're winning 10 games for the third year in a row. I think if they win this week.
And then before him, Roethlisberger. I mean, he lived up to the hype, right?
Well, yeah, but you have to go way back for that. I mean, I'm trying to think of someone more recent than him. I mean, it's been a lot of flops.
That's what I'm saying. There's more flops in the quarterback position than anything else.
True. I mean, it's very hard. It's very hard to find a
RJ3
guy.
was a joke. I mean, he came out of the class with Luck, right? And
Yeah. Yeah,
he was a
he picked-
joke.
I mean, what was funny was I mentioned this in the show how St. Louis got 6 NFL players by trading away that pick for Griffin. I mean, it's just stupid to trade your whole draft and move up to get somebody. It just doesn't work. Geno Smith was a disaster. The jury's still out on Blake Bortles in Jacksonville. The jury's still out on Derek Carr. I don't know how good or bad he's going to be. Russell Wilson, I guess he was a third round pick. He turned out to be pretty good.
Yeah, but like you said, that's how Manziel should have been. He should have been like a third round pick, so you can develop him.
True, but Wilson's smarter than him, which is a big, it makes it's such a difference to have a guy who actually understands what's going on, and then try to fit your team to their talents. And I'm not sure they can do that with Manziel. First of all, I don't think he's that smart, and secondly, I'm not sure the team's smart enough to mold the team to fit what he can do best. That's what good coaches do.
And what was Kaepernick? Where did he come out of the class?
I think he was a second-round pick. I forget what year. I think the same year as Wilson. He's really regressed. He hasn't been too good this year at all.
Well,
Part of it
it's just
was
like
Harbaugh.
Cam Newton. Look at Cam Newton. I mean, he's regressed. His first season, he showed a lot of promise. Right now, he's regressed.
Yeah, well, no, I disagree with that. I don't think it's all his fault. I think a lot of it's the team's fault. They are where they are because of him. The rest of the team blows. I mean, they got rid of their top 4 receivers, which doesn't help. They brought in Kelvin Benjamin, which is good, but the other guys are all bad. They have Greg Olson, but they don't throw to him enough. They have no second tight end. The running backs have been beat up all season. They need to get rid of those 2 guys. They're both old and done. They need some new running backs. They just didn't do a good job of putting a good team around him. I think he's still salvageable. It's just they have to have a better group around him. They did a poor job of putting people around him this season. They had a bad draft. Their offensive line, half the guys quit, retired, or went somewhere else. I mean, their entire offensive team was different. It really took them a half a season to really get their act together. So I'm not ready to pass judgment on him as some of these other people.
So let's have the week 17. This will put you above 500, will it not?
I am 8-8 going into this pick.
Yep.
All right, the big
So
D.
Danny D guarantee week 17. Let's have it.
All right, the big D guarantee for Week 17 is the game between San Diego at Kansas City. Kansas City is favored by 1. Kansas City was favored by 4.5 points this morning, but it went down to 1 because they announced that Alex Smith will not be playing in this game today, Sunday, because of a lacerated spleen that he suffered in the game against Pittsburgh. Somehow he made it through that game and played the rest of the game, but he can't play. He's going to be in the hospital for a while, and he can't have any contact for 6 weeks, which means he's probably done. Even if they made the Super Bowl, he wouldn't be able to play. So his season is over. So he can't play, and they have to play Chase Daniel, who played last year in the same game at Kansas City. It was San Diego at Kansas City to get in the playoffs, and San Diego won, beating Kansas City. I think Kansas City was already in. They just sat Smith just because they had to play the wild card weekend, but they ended up losing that game anyway. But regardless, they're playing a win-in-your-in game. San Diego's had some big victories lately, and they're playing better. Their defense is playing better, and I don't trust Kansas City, especially with a backup quarterback. No, they could go. I think they might become the first team to go an entire season without throwing a touchdown pass to a wide receiver. I'm not sure. I don't think it's ever happened before. To me, that's just incredible.
You're kidding me, right? Which team are you talking about?
The Kansas City Chiefs.
They haven't thrown a touchdown pass all season?
No, the wide receivers have not caught a touchdown pass the whole season.
You're kidding me, right?
No, they haven't caught one since week 16 or 15 last year.
A wide receiver has not caught a single touchdown pass.
No, it's like 17 or 18 straight weeks. It's incredible.
Holy shit.
And it's just, I just can't believe that. It's unbelievable how that happened.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense, but that's the way they run things. The funny thing is, the longest streak before that was the 1999 Eagles, who were coached by Andy Reid, who went 14 straight games without a touchdown pass being caught by a receiver.
So there's a connection there.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder what that would be.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know, but it's not too good. So I like Phillip Rivers over Chase Daniel in this game. Antonio Gates has played great lately. Malcolm Smith has played great. Malcolm Floyd has played great. I think Charles is banged up, and they're really going to rely on him in this game because he can't put the whole thing on Chase Daniel, which may end up happening. But I think San Diego's going to win. I think they're going to win, and they're going to get in. And Kansas City and Andy Reid's going to go home, and that's going to be it for Andy Reid for the season. The Big Tomato will be on his way to a New Year's Day party.
So that's going to be it for the Big Tomato?
Well, no, for the season. I don't think they're going to can him. Even though you think about it, they haven't been too good since they started out 9-0. They've been awful since then. I think they have gone. If they lose this game, I think they'll be 8-8, which would make them 10-14. I think since he started 9-0. Wow. So, it's just he's up to his usual stuff. I mean, it's funny.
Is Andy Reid overall, is he winning or losing in KC?
Well, I mean, he's winning, I guess. I mean, overall, if it's total record is a winning record, it's 19-14, I think, including the playoffs. But they're relevant. They're somewhat relevant again, which they weren't for a long time. They were just a joke. So he has brought some credibility to them. But they need to start winning something.
What's Alex Smith's problem that he can't play?
He has a lacerated spleen.
That was a non-football related injury. So.
No, he got hurt during the game last week, but he finished the game. And then they said, all right, that's it. You're done. They had to put him in the hospital. And he's going to be out at least 6 weeks, which means he's done for the season. He can't play again. So they have some issues there at Kansas City. They need a better wide receiving core. They need a better quarterback. He has a bad arm. I think they probably need a couple guys on defense. But Andy Reid just does this. This is typical Andy Reid. He does a bad job of drafting players, a bad job of developing players, and he does a mediocre job. And that's what they're finally going to learn there. That his early success in Philadelphia was really brought because of McNabb and because of his defensive coordinator Jim Johnson, who was brilliant. Otherwise, I don't know how much of a coach he really is.
So I want to put out a proposition there, because last week I was willing to put up $1 million on Green Bay beating Tampa. I don't know why everybody wasn't on the bandwagon there.
Because Aaron Rodgers 0-3 at Tampa going into that game.
It didn't matter, when you looked at the prospectus going into the game. I would have bet $1 million. Green Bay was going to beat Tampa last week.
Well, wasn't it an 11-point spread?
That's a good question. What was the spread?
Oh, I can tell you. 11.5.
And what was the final score?
I think 20-3. So they covered.
So there you go. I would have bet $1 million in that game.
Yeah, well,
I would have bet $1 million. I mean, Tampa was not going to do anything against Green Bay. Nothing.
They didn't. They went the first 20 minutes of that game without a single yard.
I think that's what I heard, that their total yardage after the first half was like -1.
Yeah, they were terrible.
Offensive yardage. Because I was listening to it on the local radio station here in Florida, and they were like, the total yards for the first half is -1. They're going to have to do the typical analysis, right? They're going to have to do better in the second half. They want to win this game.
They didn't. And they weren't going to win the game.
So my question is, with San Diego, are you gonna tell us? Can we drop $1 million on this? Are we gonna go +1 against the Chiefs?
Yes.
So there you are.
Yeah.
You're gonna point to the goalpost like Broadway Joe back in the day.
I'm not sure if he pointed to the. Well, yeah, I guess at the end of the game he pointed.
Mm-hmm. He also stated emphatically before the game that they would win.
Yeah, he was lucky about that one because he didn't do anything else after that at all in his entire career. He was terrible.
But this could be your entire sports picking career on the line right now if you're telling us.
Well, it can't get much further down the toilet than it already is.
So are you telling us, can I drop a cool $1 million on San Diego to beat Kansas?
Since this is Monopoly money, sure, go ahead. Well, I'm going with San Diego to beat the Chefs.
Well, I'll tell you what. I will come in on the Big B guarantee.
Well, we haven't gotten to that one yet.
All right, so let's have the Big B guarantee for Week 17 NFL. Big B guarantee. Let's have it.
All right, the big gut pick of the week is Buffalo +5 at New England. New England's won like 1 million games in a row at home against AFC opponents. They don't lose to AFC opponents at home. I think their last 3 losses have all been to NFC opponents at home. I don't think they're going to lose to Buffalo at home. But this could be a close game because I'm sure New England will put in some backup players at some point. They don't really have anything to play for. They've wrapped up home field advantage throughout the playoffs. I mean, I'm sure they want to go undefeated at home. I think Belichick's last win put him in the top 4 or 5 of all time in the history of the NFL in coaching victories. So it'll be interesting to see what happens if they play everybody or if they start sitting guys second half. But I still think they want to beat Buffalo. I think it's still a pride thing for them, especially since they get a week off anyway. So I don't think they really care that much. I think Buffalo kind of had their heart taken out of them last week when they lost that game to Oakland because they were technically still alive for the playoffs, and they really made a mess for themselves. So they're now eliminated. And I think if they lose this game too, Doug Marone's going to be out as a head coach since the new owner, I think, wants somebody else. But anyway, New England's favored by 5, so Buffalo's getting 5 points. As I said, it could be a bigger spread during the game, but at some point I think Buffalo will try to make a game of it. And I think New England might take the foot off the pedal, off the gas, because, again, the second half of the game, they're not really going to care very much about what's going on since they are the number 1 seed. So take Buffalo this week. Why not? It's the big Buru's gut pick of the week. You know how that gut is usually sours. So, and, if it's wrong, he'll just take a mulligan and, consult with the gut again.
I would bet $1 million on this game if there was a weather factor, because there was a chance that New England might even sit Tom Brady.
I think the weather's going to be fine. Actually, I think it should be okay. Yeah.
If I could get some slushy snow or something to make the ball wet and some winds, I mean, I would roll in there with a Brinks truck on this. But if weather's not going to be a factor, then I might have to just sit out on this.
I really think it's New England's game to win. As I said, I think Buffalo's a defeated team. I mean, they really had a shot, and they blew it to the Raiders last week. They were down by a lot, and they made it close. I think that's going to happen again. They could be down by a lot, but then make a run at it at the end of the game to make it closer than it really is, and maybe cover the spread. But New England's still going to win. I don't care if their backups play. They're a better team. And as I said, I think Buffalo's defeated.
Yeah, they're a better team. And 5 is, 5 is less than a touchdown. So that's scary there.
I mean, I would have been more I think I would have been more comfortable if this had been like a 12-point spread. Mm-hmm. Picking in favor of Buffalo. Something like that, a 14-point spread. But it's not, because I think the handicappers know that there might be some shenanigans going on here with New England and how much they're really going to play everybody.
So I'm going to say that Brady stays in the whole game and that it's close and that Buffalo loses within that 5 points, though. It's going to be a win if you come in on Buffalo. Yeah,
I agree. Because I don't think New England's heart's really going to be in it either towards the end of the game.
Right.
These 17 games, a lot of them are terrible. I mean, there's just nothing going on with these games at all.
Well, and has New England not lost this season? Some crappy teams.
No, I don't think so. If anything, they lost on the road. I think they're undefeated at home. I'm trying to think.
Didn't they have some bullshit losses, though, where you're like, okay, New England shouldn't have lost that game?
They were early in the season. They lost at Miami, and they lost at...
Yeah, that's what it was, at Miami.
And they lost at Kansas City. They played a close home game against the Raiders. They played a close game last week against the Jets. That was only like a 1 or 2 point victory. So that's why I think this game could be close. The Jets had nothing to play for, and they played hard in that game.
Right.
But I'm trying to think, who else did they lose to? There was somebody else on the road. I forget who it was. I think all their losses are on the road. Did they? No, they didn't play them. I forget who they lost to. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
If I was an away team coming into what field do they play at? What do they call it?
Gillette Stadium.
At Gillette. If I was an away team, I would not even use my headphones, my headsets. I would go to all hand signals. I don't trust that Belichick. He's got the place wired.
I mean, if I were Buffalo, I would do all kinds of crazy shit. Trick plays, fake punts, reverse passes, halfback passes, offensive tackle eligible plays, anything. Any kind of weird stuff. Fake field goals, onside kicks,
all out, try to block every punt, all out.
Every punt, everything. Blitz everybody on every play.
And
nobody left in the field.
Never punt once the entire game, no matter what.
That's right. All kinds of craziness. Just do anything you can. What do they have to lose? Who cares? That's what I want to see this week. If something games that don't mean anything, I want to see crazy stuff. You know, reverse passes and punts on third down and
Halfback passes and
yeah, offensive
what
linemen
about
throwing
the
balls.
old fumbleina? Can't you
Yeah,
do the
that's
old
right.
Fumbleina?
The Fumblerooski play.
Fumblerooski, where you fumble it forward.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you do that. The what do you call it? What's that kick? That Doug Flutie used to do.
The drop kick.
The drop kick. I think you get 2 points for that. Honestly, some other stuff. Punting out, taking intentional safety. Whatever you got to do.
This could be a big winner for us. Could be a big winner.
That's right. I want to see crazy stuff all around the NFL this week. Everything.
So
That'd be
there you
interesting.
have it. You're picking the combined picks of the Steelers and Vikings, the Big D guarantee, Chargers, Big B guarantee being the Bills for your Week 17 picks. And which one were we driving the Brinks truck in on? That was the
San Diego.
that was the Chargers.
Yeah.
Got a +1 against the Chiefs.
Yeah, you're throwing away your family fortune on that one.
And as always,
Score, big pick 4.